We are back with another triathlon podcast brought to you by Mana Apparel. As always, we're going to catch up on everything going on in triathlon, which we've actually had some racing. So we'll have some race results to talk through with WTCS. And then we'll jump into our usual What the F and social media posts of the week and a bit of triathlon tea. There's definitely lots coming out, and we'll take a little look at the season ahead between all of the different race series going on because there are a few of them. So we'll jump into it, catch up with the crew, see how they're doing. We haven't chatted with Fede for a bit, so let's see, what are you up to these days, Fed?
Yeah, hi guys. Good to be back. It's been a bit of a crazy couple of weeks, but now everything's coming down to a bit more normal schedule for me. And starting to train a bit more consistent right now. Not swimming a lot because, life. But I talked to my coach about this, and he said to me, well, if your swimming time is getting a bit in the way, probably as much as it hurts me, we're going to have to cut down swim time a bit. And I was, smiling because, swimming.
Sure, you're devastated.
Crying myself to sleep because I was not going to be in the pool 5 days a week. Just depression. Yeah.
No, only 5 days a week. I mean, are you still swimming 3 days a week? That's not
3
bad.
days a week. It's not too bad. But I was scared that he was going to bump up the mileage on the water, but no. So yeah, doing that, training for, looks like probably St. George 70.3 Hawaii. It's definitely yes. Already signed up for that one. And then, we'll see. But happy to be back and talking to you guys.
Was when they had that brief opening in 70.3 St. George, was that just the pro registration, or when I sent that to you, was it for age group as well?
No, that was just the pro registration. For age groupers, I think the race is not sold out yet, so I still have a couple of days to decide. Also, yesterday, the Patagon Man lottery opened, and I'm very tempted because, I've been trying to get into Norseman for the last couple of years, and I thought maybe if I do Patagon Man, it's going to be easier for me to do Norseman, but maybe if I do this race, I'll be mentally scarred for life with this, super tough long distance races. So I don't know. Still debating on that one.
Well, we'll have to nudge our friend Carolyn and see if her and her husband can help you this year.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
There we go. Well, how about you, Josh? Sounds like you've been putting in all the mileage and volume these days. What's going on in your world?
I'm trying to catch Jenna because every time I look and think I had a big mileage week or a big hour week, it's like, Jenna nudged me by about a few hours again. Now, let's be fair. She is training for an Ironman and I am training for 70.3s and marathons. Little difference. But I am training for a 70.3 and a marathon at the same time. So it's been interesting. Obviously not trying to PR my marathon in Boston, but I will be doing Oceanside on April 5th. And then 2 weeks later, the Boston Marathon. So not doing the full long run build up to that you would normally do for a marathon, but my overall mileage each week is getting up there. And I'm looking at people who are training for Boston, and I'm like, my overall mileage is more than theirs. I'm just not doing the 60-mile long run. But I'm biking 15 hours and swimming and all of that. So I'm actually really interested to see how I feel in Boston. And I am doing all of my Saturday long run is on the course. So it'll be really interesting there too. But yeah, since Puerto Rico, I've kind of been right around the 19, 20 hour range. So last year it was 13, 14 hours. I look at my Strava, it's this time a year ago, you're 350% more swim miles. And it's just, and we say it all the time to our own athletes, to other age groups, just get in the pool and put the time in and get the feel. And I'm up to 3 or 4 days a week. And for me, that's a jump, but it's been consistent, and that has made a huge difference. And I was doing 6x50s before my main set last night, and I think my last 50 was down in the 110 range. And for me, that's nuts to even think about, and it wasn't really taxing. And to be able to do that and then go into 5x400s and on the 620. So things are really ramping up, and the expectations that my coach is going to have for me at Oceanside Swim is going to be little earth. Now, if I can have the swim that she thinks I'm going to have at Oceanside, and I could potentially have, then maybe sub 5 at Oceanside is on the table with the amount of hours we've been putting in. So it really comes down to how does the climbing go for me on that course on the bike. And then I'll tell you, I'll be fit for the run and I'll be fueled and everything. So if I'm healthy and feeling good that day, I think Oceanside could actually be a much better race than I thought it might be, with the goal still being Oregon and Chicago as like my two main races this year. But the calendar's filled up, and man, I pulled my back a few weeks ago too, and I was like, we just worked right through it, and I was able to rehab it while continuing and not missing a single workout, and I really think that active recovery helped me get through it, as opposed to just taking a week off or something, which I'm really surprised about. But it goes to show that same injury 4 years ago would have knocked me out for a couple of weeks, and the base level fitness has been a huge help for me. And I'm just excited for the year because I don't remember having this type of a base ever in my life. And it's like, even when I'm tired, I like still get amped up to do the next workout. And it's a really cool spot to be in right now. And the intensity is ramping up. I had some crazy fartleks the other night, and the bike, I've got a big I think I'm up to 3x15s now on the bike. So getting closer to that magical 3x20 type range. So right where we should be for Oceanside. So I'm excited. I just need some of the snow to go away, and my driveway's a sheet of ice, and it hasn't been above freezing in 2 weeks. So now I'm definitely in Jenna's territory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I am feeling your pain there for sure. Man, way too much time in the pain cave these days. I think I'm starting to go a little bit stir crazy.
Yeah. Training for a hut race in Canada in the cold.
Seems like a great idea. Yeah. See, this is what happens when you go to Kona and you're determined not to do an Ironman until the fall, because that means you'll have the summer to train. But then you go to Kona and you want to go back to Kona because it's awesome. And your teammates suck you into a very hot, very early season race.
Peer pressure.
I know. They really twisted my rubber arm on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely in the thick of training these days over here. I'm looking at just over 7 weeks to Ironman Taiwan, which is coming up fast and furious. But yeah, in the training group, like there's nothing better when everything's just kind of clicking. The body is absorbing the workload, feeling good. And that's definitely where I am, which is a lot of fun. It's been years since I've trained like this. So it's really nice to be able to put a little bit more of a focus on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just loving every bit of it. I did my first like Ironman type training weekend. We've been doing things a little differently this year. So it was kind of fun to go back to that familiar Ironman weekend with like a 6-hour bike ride and then a 20-mile run. I haven't done a 20-mile run in a few years now outside of that.
Chicago, but that was kind of a stroll.
That was a jog. The pace on this one was much faster than that.
That was a shakeout hangover type of run for you.
I'm going to a marathon hungover. That was painful.
Don't go to a marathon with Macca.
Oh, just not good. Too much wine. I'll be less hungover and more sober for this Ironman after all the training going in. But yeah, it's been fun. All the training has been kind of heat adaptation work, and most of my long runs have only been around 2 hours, but with a ton of like elevation and overdress. So I haven't run any faster paces. So that made it really cool to go do a 20-mile run and just kind of see where the zone 2 pace is at, even though I haven't been running those paces, and it was solid. So I'm absolutely happy. And you know, whatever Taiwan throws at me, hopefully I'll be ready for it. But starting to get more into the intensity now. With last week had a double threshold day, which that was painful. Threshold run and then a threshold bike the afternoon. My legs were just cooked. So my coach being a little nicer to me this week. I had a threshold bike yesterday with a tempo run. I'll do the threshold run today. So, you know, practically easy at this point.
Only a couple miles of tempo? That's fine.
Yeah, no, it's good. Only with a few 5% grades, but other than that, it was fun.
No,
it still feels good though, even at just tempo. When you come off the bike and you get that feel of going somewhat fast, it's it's such a good confidence builder and it gets the body used to it. So yeah, you don't have to crush yourself every time.
And that's the biggest thing, especially when you're putting in high volume weeks and stuff. If you absolutely destroy yourself on one workout, you're screwed for the next week and you're going to lose out on a lot more fitness and just kind of keeping it steady and consistent. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Just kind of steadily cruising along. Nothing crazy, nothing insane. Just lots of solid work back to back to back.
Yeah. I feel like I'm on an Ironman plan, but what is she trying to do? She's getting me signed up for California at the end of the year.
You got Ironman volume going on there for sure.
It's like you said though, when your body responds and absorbs it, it's a really cool feeling. Like I'm probably on that. We were talking before. I'm probably on that borderline of needing a couple days down or lower volume, but right now the build's been pretty awesome and it is absorbing. And the key is the fueling and the recovery in between. And I've prioritized, if I need to take a half-hour nap, I'll take a half-hour nap and get after it. And like you said, those 2 high intensity sessions, you have to take a break in between. You can't go back to back. You can't brick it because those are supposed to be quality on each side. And those have been the big keys to me, like figuring out which order to do them, because sometimes she gives me the flexibility which way to do it and what I can fit in. So making sure if I know I have a hard run session, there is time before that. And I'm not going off of the bike right into a hard fartlek type run when the bike was just an aerobic warm-up type thing. So I will take the break, fuel, and recover as much as possible so that the work you're doing is absorbing. And so far, so good.
Definitely. And actually talking on the fueling, something that I've been focusing on the last couple of months that's made a massive difference is just getting enough protein. It's one of those things we all know, we all hear all the time, but I actually started tracking how much protein I'm taking in just to make sure I'm getting enough. And it is work to get enough protein. Like it seriously is.
I being 100.
Man, at like 2 grams per kilogram body weight, like that is some serious protein. So, if you are training at home there, definitely check it out. Kind of sometimes you don't know how much or how little you're getting in. Just track it for a day or two, see where you're at. And I almost guarantee most of us are not getting enough protein.
No, that's
especially when we keep beating ourselves up.
It's most definitely a huge thing to track carb and protein as quickly as possible after the workout. And I've got one powder that's actually combination of both. So I get my protein and creatine right away, and then I'll have the creatine. So I'll get like 5 milligrams of creatine right after a really hard workout with the protein, just in a shake format. And there's so many studies out there now that creatine and ketones directly after are kind of where the world's going. And you will retain a little bit of water with the use of creatine. So maybe not use it as you get closer to race day type stuff. But for now, when you're putting on these huge hours and huge intensity volume, the creatine's really helping that recovery process and the muscles grow. So that's been huge for me. But like you said, tracking it, I have a thing in my Whoop that my journal in my Whoop, it's did you get 180 grams of protein every day? And so I've been trying to get as close as possible. And most days I think I'm there, but it is a lot for sure. You have to be conscious about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's jump into some chat about those who are going a little bit faster than us. We had some racing this weekend, and it feels like it's been a minute, but it really hasn't been that long compared to most years. But we dove in this weekend with some WTCS racing, had the men's, the women's, and the mixed team relay, and it definitely wasn't boring. So, Fede, why don't you tell us what happened this weekend?
Yeah, we had WTCS Abu Dhabi.
Finally.
The cancellation last year.
Yeah. It seems like we haven't had this race since before COVID. But no, it was a cool race to watch. It's interesting every time how after an Olympic cycle, new names start to come up, and then the names that were already established are not ready on the start lists and start lines. And yeah, I guess it's that generational passing on the guard every 2 or 3 couple of Olympic cycles now that no Gomez, no Mola. We didn't see any Norwegian guys on the start list. Yeah, it's time passes. And but race wise, it was a pretty cool race and a very exciting race. Usually, these races, it's the first one. People don't know where they're at fitness wise, since it's such a long season. But it was a very, very cool race to watch on the men's and on the women's side. On the men's side, we had the likes of Hayden Wild, Matt Hauser, Vasco Vilaza, who were the top 3 guys. And it came down to the wire. Like, everybody was thinking that Vasco Vilaza was going to give Hayden a run for his money. but it was actually Matt Hauser who was toe-to-toe with Hayden. And you could see in Hayden's face, he was hurting and he was putting in the work to get away from Matt Hauser. And Matt, he's probably he's like your height, Josh. Like he's a tall guy. And Hayden,
I think when I was right next to him in Boston, I had him by a little bit. But when he was nudging Chase coming out of that swim.
There you go. Yeah. That was an impressive race to watch. And hopefully it's an indicator of how exciting this season is going to be.
Are we just
Hayden
going to see like Hayden Wild dominate this? Because like hopefully we do see, like you said, basketball asset Matty Hauser kind of getting up there and really pushing him in here. But him and Alex Yee were so head and shoulders above everyone else. Hopefully we don't see a case where, well, actually, just
think Hayden's going to be around
T100.
much.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot he's got that T100 contract. Never mind.
Yeah, and there isn't another race until May, I believe, right? So there's a big break right now with WTCS calendar. So I think Singapore was the fact that he won, I think is a testament to what kind of shape and athlete he is, because he's in Singapore build right now. And he's focused on getting in shape for a T100 and not a sprint distance race that in that heat and all of that in the midst of moving houses and buying a house. And kudos to Hayden, because Vasco and Matty Hauser, that was a big race for them.
Yeah, and it's got to be confidence building. So he's switched up his whole coaching setup to going to individual coaches instead of a triathlon coach, having, bike coach and doing things a little bit differently this year.
New team sponsors, he's changed everyone's changing everything right now, it seems.
Really is. But good start, so that's got to build some confidence, and can't wait to see him in that T100 series.
Yeah, it was definitely a cool race to watch. And then again,
German to give the ladies results?
Yeah. No, I was just looking at the results, and the top 11 on the men's side, all of them ran under 15 minutes for the 5K.
Oh. Yeah.
So 11 guys went 14 minutes. The Spanish guy, he ran 14:39.
14:39 was the fastest.
Sanchez Mantecon. And the other Spanish guy, David Cantero, he ran a 14:05 casually.
Absolutely insane.
Going after the new world records that keep going down in the 5K.
No. And this is after swimming and biking, so just next level.
Well, what went down on the women's side, that was awesome to watch.
That was awesome. And we had a little bit of drama as well on the women's side. A little bit of not pulling on the bike, and a few words were exchanged here and there. But then again, that's racing. And everybody played their cards to their advantage. And we had a German domination, a German 1-2-3, with Lisa Terch coming in first place, Nina Im in second place, and Laura Lindemann running up the podium in third place. And fourth place was Leonie Perriot from France. And they were duking it out on the bike and taking pulls, and it was a very fast-paced race. But in the end, Lisa had the best of them all. Just with a bit of a kick, with a few Ks to go, she just ran away with the victory. And maybe Leonie Perriot did a bit of extra work on the bike, because she didn't look with that pop that we know her on the run. And the Germans just got the best of her in the end. But it was impressive to see a 1-2-3 from Germany. I think the last time we had a 1-2-3, it was the Norwegians in Bermuda.
Yeah. That storied Norwegian finish where they had to start asking the crowd for a third Norwegian flag because they expect to have three on the podium.
They knew too.
Yeah.
But...
and it was fun. That run, there was a bit of cat and mouse on there too. Like Leona Perriot, she was kind of pushing it off the front and then forcing everyone to respond. And this early season, you kind of never know what to expect. So whether it was a case of on the bike putting in some effort or just early season fitness isn't quite there yet, it at least kept it interesting till the end. So there's definitely some tactics going on. It
was a really cool race just visually to watch too.
Yeah, I like that bike path.
On the bike path, and it's just desert and bike path, and like these guys flying around in the peloton. Really, really cool atmosphere. You can see why there's so much attention on that part of the world as far as an athletic mecca going forward, and why all the money's being dropped and put into it with, hey, the T100 is now called the T100 Chase to Qatar. And now you've got Abu Dhabi and all of these other UAE stuff that's coming up, and what a huge benefit is for our sport and some of the other endurance sports as well.
Yeah. And it was interesting during that bike was kind of looking at Gwen Jorgensen. So kind of saying last year, like, is this the year she kind of breaks through and like the field is switched up? She was right on the bike with them until like the last lap and a half, 2 laps, and then it just exploded out. But it would have been interesting to see her coming off the bike with them and see what she could actually run alongside that crew.
I know she can run with anyone.
Absolutely. It was really fun to watch that race again and see them back at it and pushing it out on course. But we also had the mixed team relay. So last year we missed out on this too. We missed out on a lot of team relays last year. So it's fun to actually see it back. And there was a bit of drama there too.
Yeah, which then again, we still had another German domination with the women, and then the mixed team relays. The Germans took the win. Then we had Team USA and Italy. That was, good for Italy because they're always up there. But to finally have them on the podium was really cool to see. And it's interesting to see now how after we had mixed team relays in Tokyo and then in Paris, how teams are starting to learn how to play their cards on the mixed team relays. And to me, it seems like the mixed team relays is what's going to launch triathlon into the next, viewership category and excitement, because it's always fast-paced, exciting drama, and it brings out the team element, which is awesome. And for someone who's starting to get into triathlon, if you show them a mixed team relays, that's going to hook them instantly.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to root for your country or your favorite country when it's multiple people involved and it is that team aspect. I mean, although this race was kind of handed to the Americans and the Italians by the 5-team wipeout, which included Portugal and so three nations were completely taken out. I think only 2 survived that crash and were able to get back up and going. So that was a rough crash coming around a bend where all 5 teams went down, which was really crazy. Thank God nobody got seriously injured. It looks like, I think Vasco took the worst of it, and seems like he's back in training and doing okay too. So I don't think the U.S. had a second place performance. The Germans definitely ran away with first no matter what. But Morgan and Spivey and them just didn't seem like they were all there. And we all know Morgan just came off of a half marathon training. He's been run training, but he is in the T100 as well too. So we'll see if he can get back in triathlon shape after a bit of run focus early in the season. Although it seems like that's the MO of all triathletes right now in the off season, is to see how fast they can run in local park races and setting records.
Everybody's setting records in the off season.
It's hard to say, like, this is one race. We could look at every WTCS race and be like, hey, LA. I was like, this is all going to change in a year or two. Like, I mean, they're not even accumulating Olympic points and anything right now. So, like you said, none of the Norwegians are there. The top Americans, yes, Taylor and Morgan were there, but for the most part, nobody's dialed in on LA yet. And unless they are a true short course athlete and not bouncing back and forth and trying to be an up and comer, which is what the Germans have full boat. Although the Germans relay team wasn't the same as the podium girls either, too. So it's like their B team won the relay race. So now you're talking 6, 7, 8 athletes that could potentially help them out going forward. So it's definitely going to be a bridge to gap to the Germans going forward, would be my guess. But it's still way too early to tell. And I don't think we can start predicting LA until we get within a couple of years.
Yeah, half the field that raced today won't be in LA. Like, it is so far out. But the fun thing about this race was that the Germans actually, like, they were off the back. And we don't often see that in the relays. Like, usually it's once you're in the first couple legs. If you're not near the front, you're just out of it. But they actually were able to call back, which is something we don't see too often. So it's very, very cool.
In one leg, too. Like, she was last coming out of the swim and then bridged all the way up on the bike and then held on for the lead in the run and handed it off to the final leg. I mean, that was crazy how far they came back from.
And I will say you can tell that WTCS Triathlon, like they're trying to do more with the broadcasts. We had some more graphics on screen, which is great. Although the audio was rough on some of the announcing. And at one point on the run, the camera was so shaky that I was starting to get a little nauseous.
Dizzy?
So they have some things to work on. But I think the biggest shame is just that it's all behind a paywall. Like, you're not going to grow that audience. You're not going to get people into Olympic distance if they have to pay for it. Because, sometimes I struggle to pay for it because the coverage is mediocre. Never mind someone who's never heard of triathlon. So they've revamped everything. So it looks like they are going all in on that whole pay to watch format, which I think it's unfortunate. Doesn't help the athletes, doesn't help the fans.
Kind of a good transition into another hot topic is the fact that SuperTri announced their acquisition of a whole bunch of mass participation races, which are sprint and Olympic distance. So there is no paywall there. Anyone can watch SuperTri race. Now, which races they attach their pro races to, we still don't know. But I think one of the factors in what SuperTri is trying to do is that World Triathlon is pushing people away from watching their races, and SuperTri is all about that viewership and all of that. So hopefully that will take off and grab some attention and do what the intention is to get more people into the sport.
Hopefully. It seems like they're another triathlon brand that has realized that getting cash through streaming triathlon just isn't a reality. You have to go to the age group or to the mass participation to make anything that has any real value at the end of the day. We saw T100 wanted to be just that broadcast entity, and they didn't work out. Now they're jumping into mass participation. SuperTri, like you said, they always said it was going to be focused on the pros, and now they're jumping into mass participation. So it's definitely, we keep kind of learning the same thing over and over again there. But with SuperTri, they did announce some of the new races that they're taking over. We've got Chicago happening August 3rd and 24th. They've got the Long Beach Legacy Triathlon, which there was all of that drama with Malibu and California before. So they've got a race up and going on July 20th. And then we got Toulouse will be on October 5th. And the Austin Triathlon will be on May 26th. And Caryville on September 27th and 28th. So they've got a few more triathlons under their belt there. And hopefully they'll bring the same kind of experience to some of those SuperTri events and just make it a lot of fun.
And there might be one more in North America still to be announced as well for this year, is what we're hearing.
I'm excited about that one, but I don't want to pay too much until it's out there. No. So I'd be curious to see, like you said, which ones they actually have pro races at, if any. I don't know. Have they announced the pro series locations yet? No.
No. So no pro contracts or pro series yet. Obviously, their first big kickoff is the E games. So the SuperTri E games. And that's coming up, which they do have the defending champ and his girlfriend Cassandra are both participating. So Chase McQueen's coming back to defend his title. Sandra Boground's going to be part of that. Johnny Brownlee's going to be part of that. So those names we do know. And if you've never seen one of those are indoor sprint, swim, bike, run with the swim in a pool with the bikes off the deck and then a run on a treadmill, which is really, really cool and fast paced and just insane red line VO2 type stuff.
Yeah,
super short, fast and furious. No, it should be a good watch in there. But yeah, curious to see this year. It just seems like there's so much pro racing. I'm curious to see who they'll be able to get in, especially since they've had T100 tap into so many of those pro athletes that they would usually have racing their series. I wonder what that'll look like this year.
Yeah, and the T100, calendar is out for the most part, but not fully either. So there's still a couple of dates that are probably not helping SuperTri and by SuperTri figure out their calendar. But I think they have an idea of when those things are going to be and that they can work around. And there are going to be some athletes crossing over. There's always the wild card aspect to T100 too. Everyone has to do Singapore, but not everyone is doing Singapore. I know Paula Finley announced that she's not going to be doing it, but she got a waiver because she's having some green card things that she's taking care of right now. So she's actually going to be doing Oceanside, which is new to her calendar as well. So there's going to be some changes. And then once Singapore, after that, they can then decide which races they want to do as well. So I would imagine you're going to get some of the short course athletes still coming into Super Tri, and Super Tri is a good paycheck. It's great visibility. It's in and out, and you're done pretty quickly. So it's not a big tax on the aerobic system.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here's what we have for the calendar so far for T100 is like you said, Singapore, that's going to be the first one. And it sounds like all the athletes are required to show up to that race, whether they're racing or not. They got to be on that start line, which is good to see. But if you're traveling all the way to Singapore, you may as well race at that point. But that'll be happening April 5th to 6th. And then we're going to go back to San Francisco on May 31st to June 1st, and then hop over to Vancouver, which I'm excited about that one, June 13th to 15th, over to the French Riviera on June 27th to 29th, over to London after that for August 9th to 10th. And then we've got Spain, location, date to be announced, who knows where. And then we got Lake Las Vegas again, date to be announced, Dubai T100, November 15th to 16th. And then that path to Qatar goes December 11th to 13th. So that's a pretty long season. When you're doing the final in December, like we saw with 70.3 Worlds this year, like it's basically survival at that point. Who's still racing?
Yeah.
Are you guys looking at going to any of the T100 events or any interest there?
If I add another race to my calendar. Well, we'll see. I actually would potentially this year, based on my calendar, maybe jump into one of these new Super Tri events after being part of the Boston one. That Austin event is probably too early, but we'll see. In May, but maybe Kerrville towards the end. I don't know. We'll see. It's so tough because I'm so focused on this potential sub 3 at Chicago, which is, again, that's to run a 650, 651 pace. That's going to take a lot of work out of back half of my year. So I would love to. I think eventually the T100 events, I was watching a lot of Lucy Charles YouTube stuff because she's back on and doing her training vlogs. I did catch her like behind the scenes of Dubai, the grand final, and she wasn't racing, but she was there. And it was just kind of cool to see her interactions with all of the age groupers and everything that goes on that side of it that we don't see on the T100 broadcast for the most part. So they are really good age group events.
That's awesome.
I mean, I did a T100 when it was PTO, and it was a cool event. And I'm considering in doing the T100 Vancouver. That seems cool. But yeah, I don't know. Like Josh said, if Super Tri, I want to see their calendar, one of those Olympic distance races. That would be cool to go. Definitely also
Texas
because
is easy for you to get to.
Exactly. And it has a pro element, the atmosphere. So I really want to go to one of the Super Tri events. Yeah, definitely. But still on the fence. Jenna's probably going to beat to every single one of the Super Tri events.
Oh man, those ones we'll see this year with Kona being the focus. Definitely going a lot more in on the training these days than all of the travel and work stuff and that. But we'll see. I'm looking at the T100 in Vancouver though. Initially, I wasn't going to because with the T100, the swim is longer in relation to the bike and the run, which is not my forte. But it turns out it's a qualifier for the long distance world championships for Canadians.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, so they've got 3 spots per age group for that one, the biggest kind of in Western Canada. So now I'm thinking, okay, go there, qualify for long distance world champs next year and kind of mix it up and give that a go again. See if I can have another good result at the long distance world championship. So looking at that one, and it's always fun, just that T100 energy. Like it really, really is a cool feeling on site with the pro racing going alongside it. So I'd be curious to see what that age grouper feels like alongside the pro racing. Is it an afterthought or do they really make it a really great age group?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see because I mean, we got a really good look into it with Dubai and that Lucy Charles YouTube was really good. And I know there's some others out there from other races, but Dubai, they had like the 5K race that Jan jumped into and threw down.
Everyone?
Okay. So, I mean,
Jan was in it.
Right.
Right.
that's a big spectacle, and that is Dubai in a nut anyways, but it was the grand final last year. So it'd be interesting to see how other races start to incorporate that type of feeling, and if they do that in like Las Vegas and or wherever else that they may go, or what kind of vibe is it in Vancouver. So I think they're about a year or two away from really starting to grab age groupers, if that's the feel that people start to portray coming out of those events.
Yeah, and people raved about it. I had a bunch of friends who did the London event and they loved it. The only barrier I see is it's expensive. To give you an idea, T100 in Vancouver is more expensive than Ironman Calgary 70.3 by a bit.
We all know how expensive Ironman is.
Although if you're in the US, you should definitely come do Ironman Calgary 70.3 because the Canadian dollar makes it very affordable.
And hit up Jenna for a code.
There we go. But yeah, I was surprised by the price of it. So that's going to be a bit of a barrier for people. So I'm hoping it lives up to the hype of the experience because it's not a cheap race.
When is Vancouver?
June 12th or 13, I think.
13th to 15th.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So if you come up, Josh, you can do color commentary of the Trathlon podcast racing on site. You can get all the pro stuff while we're out there suffering.
Perfect. That might fit into my calendar.
Excellent.
Depends on the new job and all that. So still, that we'll have an announcement on that in the next couple of weeks, hopefully.
Excellent. Well, we got a few other things going on. Why don't we jump into our usual segments here with What the F and social media posts? Let's start with you, Josh. What do you got for social media posts of the week?
I started to hint at it a little bit. I think because it's been a few weeks and the season is just kicking off. Just in general, kind of check out some of the pro athletes and what they're doing on YouTube and on their Instagram reels and stuff. But I've seen some great training ride content. Lucy Charles just started kicking back on hers. We just came across a new one, Megan McDonald, a pro who was training and kind of vlogged all about a couple of weeks in Lanzarote. So if you want to see what it's like to train like a pro for a couple of weeks while in a literally triathlon training mecca of Lanzarote, check out Megan McDonald's YouTube and really just kind of start to check out a lot of the pro athletes as they're starting to put up their training updates and race updates and race calendars. And we'll start to get more specific on certain posts to check out as we go forward and start to consistently get our podcasts up. We've got a big interview next week coming up as well, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, it's just it's YouTube time, so make sure you subscribe and liking your favorite pros and get on your trainer and watch away, and next thing you know, you'll be done your 3-4 hour ride.
Well, this is the time for it. We're all stuck inside on the trainer anyways. I know it's been minus 25 here, so I haven't been getting out there for anything. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, definitely go check out our YouTube page at Another Triathlon Podcast. We're starting to upload all of these to YouTube, and we've got some previous pro interviews on there too. So go give it a view, give us a subscribe. That would be absolutely awesome. But there is tons of triathlon content going on these days for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard not to find it, and even if you start to watch some of like the old Kona or the old Nice recaps, there's a lot of good Ironman recap videos and T100 videos. So plenty of content to get you through to when you can actually get outside and ride again if you're stuck in an area like Jenna and I.
Absolutely. Now, that brings us to What the F of the week. Now, this is something I just had a whole conversation about, but my What the F this week is we still don't know where the 70.3 World Championships are going to be. Or really, we don't know where the Ironman World Championships are going to be for 2026. So usually at this point, we have a pretty good idea of where those races will be, and we'll start to qualify for 2026 in July kind of time frame. And I know a few people are actually holding off on signing up for 70.3s until they find out where that World Championships is going to happen. So I don't know. It looks like from all the trends, possibly North America would be very cool, but talking to the race directors here in Canada, they don't even know where it is yet. So it's, locked down at this point.
That's crazy. It just seems like in an ideal world, can we all just come together and share our information instead of competing and making it harder for people to fall in love with this sport? But I also understand it's a business and they're trying to do what's right. But We all know the Kona debate is going to be up in the air until it's back in Kona every year. But 70.3 worlds, come on. I mean, that we should know that by now.
So I heard some speculation that this is kind of a good theory, where if they're not going to do the Ironman World Championships in Nice anymore, are they potentially talking to Nice to do a 70.3 World Champs? And then that way they can still give Nice the
Which they've done before in Nice, right? So, I mean, there's already a standard set. You know how it goes when you go to Nice for 70.3 Worlds. I mean, it hasn't been that long since they were there doing it.
No, it'd be fun to see it back in North America, a little easier to get to personally. But yeah, I'm just surprised
selfishly.
Almost
everyone in Topaz like, no, Jenna, we'll come back here.
Although I mostly use triathlon as an excuse to travel.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully we hear some announcements soon, because there's 70.3 Worlds, but really 2026 Ironman World Championships, like the qualifications aren't that far off from starting. Like that's even sooner.
That actually reminds me, there was another one I caught briefly last night after I finished my run and had my Normatex on. Was Daily Tries got his like quiz show, and his shows are starting to come back up for this season, and he does some great content stuff. And one of the questions was, do you know when the first 70.3 World Championships were, and where were they? And what? So I think it was like 2006, 2009, or 2011. And then the answer was they were in Florida, but that I knew, obviously staying close to home for Ironman. But do you guys remember when it was?
No, I'm
gonna go
2011.
Yeah, 2008.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Clearwater, Florida.
Clearwater,
right?
Okay.
Yeah, because for years, it really wasn't a thing. Like it existed.
Craig Alexander was the men's winner.
There we go. Obviously.
Forever ago. Yeah, they've done well kind of taking that from something that just kind of happened, no one really tried for, or it's just a thing that happened, to making it something that people actually go out of their way to try to qualify for. So Ironman has definitely done that well over the years, building a bit of a legacy around it.
The middle distance has been a huge feeder for the full distance. I think you have people that would never think about doing 140.6, and it's like, oh, I did a sprint. Now I can do a 70.3 without having to have that huge leap of 2.4 mile swim, really, in a 112 bike. I mean, okay, most of us can probably get through a marathon with a little bit of training, but it's the other two aspects that are daunting for most people. And now you've got that gap bridge. And now you're starting to see it reverse a little bit too, where Ironman's now pulling T100 athletes away into the full distance because they really know that there's a potential to make more money in the Ironman Pro Series now. And in order to do it, you can't be just a 70.3 athlete. Now you have to go full distance. So look at all the 70.3 athletes now doing Ironman distance last year, and even more so this year, which is a real true testament to Ironman holding pat on what they believed in. And now you're starting to see people leave the T100 to go to the full distance, which probably maybe they wouldn't have done until the very end of their careers otherwise.
Yeah. See, I still find it ironic that the PTO started as an organization for long distance for athletes, but I think that's one of the biggest reasons these athletes are going to Ironman and long distance, because it's Olympic distance plus for T100 these days, especially now that they've got all the Olympic athletes in there. Like, if you're an Ironman pro, you're probably not competing like head to head with these T100
unless
athletes on
Sam
that course,
Long.
right? Yeah. Well, and even Sam Long, I'm curious to see how he goes this year with now they're going to have the Olympic distance swim power at the front. I'm surprised he's doing the T100.
The gap is probably going to be bigger coming out of the swim. Sam, love you to death. I love all the work you're putting in on the swim, but it's not looking promising for this year based on who you're competing against.
Yeah, so I think Ironman just came in at the right time with that Ironman Pro Series, because as that gets faster, more of the Olympic distance athletes at T100, these middle distance pros even, like, they're going to have to move up to Ironman to get those big paydays anymore, because T100 it's going to be, Olympic distance plus.
Which brings the question, what if Ironman knew about this all along, and that's why they pushed the Ironman series, and that was their way of telling their pros, hey, I'm going to protect you. I know the T100 is going to go into more of an Olympic distance vibe. So why don't you come to Papa again?
I love your phrasing.
And we'll always remember who's your daddy chant when it comes to Pedro Martinez and the New York Yankees.
Exactly.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness.
Yes. Good
Oh,
times.
that's perfect. Yeah, no, it's good. And it definitely sounds like Ironman recognizes that this actually has some value. For so many years, they kind of pushed down the pros saying, hey, they don't really have the value for us. We're just kind of doing this to do it kind of deal. But T100 came in and kind of forced their hand to show them that the pros do have value. But it sounds like they're now kind of long-term committed to continuing this Ironman Pro Series because they do see the value in it, all the buzz around it. And Ironman, I just actually had a meeting with the Ironman marketing team, and registrations, everything is up so much more than it's been in the past few years. There's almost a resurgence happening when it comes to Ironman events and participation. So that's really, really cool to see. And we're starting to see a younger segment of the population coming in to do it. I was looking at some of the registration charts and data that they sent, and it's really like for so long we saw Ironman was 40, 50 plus was the main demographic, but we're actually getting some new blood in it now, which is really, really great to see.
Starting with Oceanside, which has like a record number of age group athletes for a non-world championship. I mean, I think the number was over 3,600 now or something crazy.
That's insane.
That transition's big enough already, and I've done it the last 2 years. So stay tuned for a recon episode on Oceanside as well. I think we're going to put one of those together with some of the talent that we have here and the knowledge we have of that race. But man, that's a testament to what Ironman's doing. And the numbers are just like through the roof across the board. But it always starts with Oceanside. And then when you can't get in there, you got to find the next one and the next one and the next one. And the amount of races selling out early now, especially on the Ironman side too, it's crazy.
And that's a race where they need Race Ranger with that many athletes on course and be like, you're red.
That was the race that they couldn't use it last year too. It was like we were all in on Race Ranger and James couldn't get the update to all the devices, so they decided to pull it last year. So, yeah, we've got a little update from Race Ranger too. So
Yes.
they were, if you're not aware, it was actually used for the first time as an age group solution at Challenge Wanaka, which was last weekend as well. Decent pro field there, but not all the pros were there. But what they decided to do was 270 athletes ended up using the Race Ranger in the age group field. And it covered all athletes up to the 55 plus age group. And after that, they had to cut it short because of the number of units that they currently have. But they're growing their inventory and the amount of units, and they wanted to get a good test event out there. And the only problem with it, or one of the problems that they seem to have, is when you don't have everyone using it, it gets a little difficult when you get into a loop course, especially, which this one had 3 loops, I believe. You start to get into lap traffic, and some of the bikes don't have the units, and then you don't know how close you are. And then obviously, so that is something they'll work on. But from all takes, it sounds like it went really well from the people that were able to use it, and even the officials saying, like, I don't know how we go back because it made their lives so much easier. And it's going to be a scaling factor, and it doesn't sound like we'll have these big 500, 1,000 unit races this year, but most likely next year. And their focus this year is going to be on the pro races and the 40 plus events that they're doing there. So kudos to James and the Race Ranger team, because it's all about the fairness of the racing, and these are not draft legal races, and we got to keep it that way and keep it safe and keep it fair, with a lot on the line with all these age groupers going crazy these days trying to get into the world championships, wherever they may be.
Yeah, hopefully it'll lead to some awareness and self-policing where you're seeing that red light in front of you, and maybe even, just, I hate to say it, but like shame you into keeping the distance too, because everyone else can see if you're red right up against the person in front of you. Definitely be cool to see it on a bigger field and see what difference that actually makes when it comes to race day. Because there's nothing worse, especially with all of us, like we're slower swimmers and we're coming out and we're usually passing people on the bike. Nothing worse than seeing on the turnaround just a pack going the other direction. You're like, that sucks.
And it sounds like they've come up with some cool features to scale to this level too, because I think one of the things that they're able to do in the pro race is kind of just tap each individual bike as they come in before the race morning. With the age group race, they were able to have the devices turn themselves on at a certain time. So there's small little pieces of it and technology upgrades that they're making left and right and constantly. But that is one piece that they wouldn't be able to tap every bike when you're talking 500 to 1,000 age groupers that they've thought about. So that's the level of detail that they're going to. And he shared some of the specifics of it with us, and happy to share it with you if you have any questions about it. But really cool what they're doing. And I think it's only going to get better for all of us as that technology gets more advanced.
Yeah, it's a matter of time when we see at every world championship with age groupers that the race ranger is on every single bike. And that I think that's where they're heading. And it's just a matter of time to have fair racing for all pros, age groupers, everyone.
And whether or not it's 12 or 20 meters.
Yes.
I believe that's still a debate. It just
make
age groupers, fine. Pros, you need 20. Like, it's just, there's no question. Doing all this aerodynamic work and work with, like, doing stuff with Ghibli and stuff, it's just ridiculous to see the benefits of being that close to another bike. Like,
exactly.
I believe it's
we saw it in Kona. I mean, if Kona wasn't a testament to the 20 meter, I mean,
those speeds too, it's just even amplified. It drives you crazy. And they're like, well, if we increase it to 20 for the pros, we can't do that for the age groupers because there's not enough room. It's like, okay, cool. Do it for the pros.
Yeah.
We have different rules already for the pros versus age groupers around slotting in and like where you can be behind other bikes.
Speed limits at Oceanside.
Yeah.
Anyways, won't go on that rant again. But Josh, we had a call out on the Instagram page for some questions from the audience. Did we get a couple good ones there we could chat about?
We did. Thank God for archiving stories. Right?
Archive, yes.
Yeah, these were kind of just ask us, who are your coaches and how long have you been with them?
Good question.
Start with Fede.
Okay, so my coach, his name is Tim Brazier. Shout out. He's a guy from New Zealand. Really awesome guy. He worked with Triathlon New Zealand for a while. He coached the likes of Kyle Smith, Brendan Curry. So he's a very knowledgeable guy. And I get along with him very well. He shares my sense of humor, which is, the best one. And I've been with him since 2018, I want to say.
That's awesome. Finding someone that you can work with and click with. I think that's the biggest thing. Half of coaching is just buying in and trusting that person.
And the reason why we've been together for so long is because he's not just writing the programs and, he engages and he listens. For our listeners, please find a coach that listens and that adjusts or whatever, For instance, these past couple of months that have been a bit crazy for me, he knows that the workload that I would need to perform at the highest level, it's not there. So he adjusts. And he's also find a coach who's always willing to learn, what might work for you on a specific season is not going to be the same for the next one. For example, Josh, right now he's doing 20 plus hours a week. And that speaks to his coach. Yeah, just not somebody that's like a robot sending you programs for no reason.
Especially when you've been with your coach as long as you too, Fed. I mean, things have changed in the coaching industry from when you started to now, and the technology and the advancements and the knowledge of fueling and everything all comes into it. And if you have a coach that's willing to learn what the latest and greatest is, that's a huge piece.
Absolutely.
How about you, Josh? Tell us about your coach.
So I've been with Benny Gross Thompson for almost a year and a half now. I actually found her thanks to this podcast. We had her coach on, Parker Spencer, who runs the USA Project Podium team, and we had interviewed him, and I had talked with him afterwards, and he said he was starting his own little coaching business outside of USA Project Podium, and ended up landing with Benny as my coach a year and a half ago. And man, it's been awesome because she's a world champion. I mean, she has been on the top step at Ironman Worlds and 70.3 Worlds, and at 53 years old is even winning like overall female age group podiums, is insane. So the level of athlete she is warrants some respect. And then the person that she is and the friend that she's become has been a huge impact on my life inside and outside of triathlon. And the inspiration that she is, a mom of 5, and I mean, crazy stuff that she's able to deal with. If she can get her work done, I can get my work done as well. And we have a great communication level, like Fed said. I mean, without the text back and forth or the phone calls to make adjustments if needed, or feedback off of pretty much every workout I do, there's a comment or a text or something about the feel or is the heart rate accurate? And it's a really cool relationship that we've had. And she's really invested in my season this year. As you can tell, the training has changed a little bit as we up our goals and have had some extra time to do some extra training right now. So the body's responding. She's been awesome about it. And it's really cool to be that close to the top level of the sport with her coach being Parker and everything that he's dialed in with and the knowledge that he has with the whole inside program. And watching I was watching a YouTube the other day, the Zwift Academy. And the Zwift Academy was using the inside protocol. And I was like, that's exactly the protocol that I've been able to train with. And really neat to see how it's being implemented in other aspects of the sport and elsewhere and at the top level, like those guys are with the Pro Peloton. So just really awesome. Don't see us changing our relationship anytime soon unless she gets pissed at me for not getting to the pool again.
No,
Love you, Benny. How about you, Jenny? You've been with your coach for a while too, huh?
Yeah, actually for quite a while here. I've been with my coach Lucho since 2013. So pretty much signed on with him like 6 months after I started triathlon and decided I wanted to really do something with it. And funny enough, found him from a podcast too. He was on a podcast, Endurance Planet, unfortunately not on anymore, but found that I learned a lot from him just through listening to those episodes. And he was previously a pro triathlete with some top results in Kona and stuff, and was doing some, basically coaching advice on Endurance Planet. And it's funny, I had to harass him for a few months before he took me on. I was brand new to the sport in there, had done one triathlon. It was a 70.3 that I trained for 10 weeks. for.
Off a PDF.
Yeah, exactly. And had a chat with him and actually learned something from that first conversation. I'm like, hey, no, I want you as a coach after interviewing a few. And he's like, that's great, I'm full. Okay. So I reached out to him the next month. No, I'm still full. Like, so kept harassing him until he took me on. And one thing I really appreciate is he just does workouts based on how my body's actually adapting. I came to him super A-type competitive and said, hey, I want to do my first Ironman. I've just learned how to swim and bike, but I want to do well in Ironman. He's like, hey, pull your jets. Let's see how your body responds to the workload. And it responded. So we kept pushing, and every crazy thing I've come to him and said, I want to win this or do this. And he's like, cool, let's make it happen. So it's definitely been a good relationship in there. And I think that brings up the point. All of us are coached remotely, which is really cool technology these days. The amount of data that you can get from these Wahoo or Garmin or whatever watches in there and uploading to something like Training Peaks, which I know we all use. It's incredible the amount of data that for coaches, ourselves, to see what your body's actually doing in these workouts. It's almost better than being on site and just watching you. So it's pretty cool to see how successful that can be for coaching.
I think the virtual relationship too, it really forces you to get a feel for your own body to give the correct feedback as well. Whereas you would maybe just be going through the motions and listening and doing what you're told, as opposed to actually trying to get a feel for it yourself and an understanding of what you're doing and why you're doing the training. Now, I will say the week that I got to spend with Benny in Puerto Rico this year and the week prior in Arizona the year before have been huge stepping stones. So if you do get the opportunity to get in person with your coach for a couple of days at a time, once a year or so, it's really nice as well.
Absolutely.
Especially on the swim feedback.
Yeah. I was just going to add to that yes, it just goes to show how technology, thrives with long distance coaching, but also if you have the chance of spending some time with your coach, like Josh said, and I do the same with my coach, I like to do like a training block wherever he's at, or and that just
He
proves
just
that.
likes to go to New Zealand. Let's be honest.
Yes. Also, yes. Yeah. That's the only time of the year where I ride outside of the trainer. So and now my mind is all messed up because they drive on the other side of the road, and if I go out and I start going backwards, I'm just gonna get hit by a car here. So that's why I just keep going there. No, but I was just gonna add to that it also proves to the fact that coaches need coaches as well.
Yeah.
Yes, you could self-coach. Probably all of us could self-coach ourselves, but that's not to say that good is the enemy of better. So if you do have a coach, it's probably better for your mental health and your physical health, because oftentimes we think we are outside of the norm and we can maybe overtrain ourselves or do what we feel like doing. And that's not necessarily what's best for us. So yes, it's important to, no matter your level, to always have someone in your corner who can look out for your training program and pull your ears when you need to.
I'm a much better coach of my athletes than I would be of myself, by far.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. I think we could all say that. And actually, if you are looking for a coach, we are brought to you by Mana Apparel, and we've got M&A coaching, which myself and Fede coach for. We have a promotion going on this month, I believe, where if you do sign up for coaching on the Gold and up tier, you get a free cycling kit as well. So never been a better time to jump in, get some wicked Mana apparel when you do sign up for that. And actually, an announcement is going to be coming out soon about our Mana training camp. So speaking of getting some in-person training, it's going to be happening in early May, and we'll be sending out details about that soon. But we are going down to Cozumel, one of my favorite places I've ever been to train. Now, the thing that makes this camp different is, one, all-inclusive. So there's always food available all the time, which is like the absolutely biggest key when it comes to a training camp, because we put in some decent mileage, but also it's a training camp for all ability levels. So we have enough coaches on site so that every speed, every pace is able to do it, especially on this island with a loop. The last time we were in Cozumel, we had someone who was riding their bike outside for the first time. We had people who had never done open water swimming before come out to the camp, all the way up to Ironman winners, World Championship winners. So we definitely have the gambit, and everyone's just kind of out there to have a good time. You find your groups, you find your training buddies, and there's always someone to train alongside. So it's definitely a fun and motivational experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Still looking to get to my first one. Maybe May is the one that I get to. So looking forward to it. And the community itself keeps growing too. We're over 500 members now, which is amazing. Finished first tri club in Division 2 last year, and now jumped up to Division 1 with over 500 members. And the community's been really involved. Our WhatsApp chat is like, I think I've had probably 30 WhatsApps since we got on this podcast.
Probably.
Just fun to have people to geek out with and share ideas with.
I think it's been that gear and tech talk too.
Oh yeah. Yesterday
let's do one other question that we got too, and this one's a good one, and Fede probably alluded to his answer, but what is your bucket list race? One that you haven't done?
For me, it'd be Challenge Raw. That's the one I still, years of watching it and just seeing all the excitement around it and that Solar Berg Hill, that's the one I definitely have to get to one of these days.
Yeah.
How about you, Fede?
Well, I mentioned it before, probably Norseman. That would be my bucket list race. Yeah, I don't know what it is about that race that it scares me, but also like challenged me in a good way. So yeah, definitely need to do that one.
It's definitely wetsuit legal.
Wetsuit legal. No sharks. Yeah.
I think that's why most of us got into Ironman, was something that was challenging and scary and intimidating. And you do so many of them at some point. You need a bigger hit to get that same feeling. So Norseman seems like it would hit the target.
I was talking to a couple of my friends, and all of us were like, that feeling of clicking, of finishing the registration for an Ironman, and that gut feeling that you get, it never goes away. You're like, what am I doing? Okay, sign up.
Take my money.
Yeah.
How about you, Josh? What has you excited? What would you want to do?
Well, mine has to be Kona, because it still hasn't happened and still haven't done the full distance yet. So we'll get Ironman California on the schedule at some point, and hopefully get to Kona, but at least go to Kona and be a part of it before I qualify. We'll see.
Come down this year.
Come down this year. You got to get there. So let's see how Taiwan goes first. And then you can talk to me. Yeah, Jenna's like, I already got that. No, don't worry.
Come do the half with me in June. Well, late May, early June.
That is the other aspect to to do that. That would be one. And you know what else has started to come up on my list as I get further and further in this longer base training, aerobic fat max type world and in the running world. And we just saw Eric Lagerstrom podium at 50K top notch race. These ultra races are getting cooler and cooler. And you had Chris Lieferman and Eric Lagerstrom in the top 5 at a 50K trail running event that had the top pros in the sport who focus on 50K trail running. And these guys are as in their triathlon world showing up and bringing a whole bunch of viewership to it.
Absolutely.
I love that whole aspect of it. I don't get to do enough of it. I don't do a lot of trail running, but the ultra world really does entice me because I feel like I can have that aerobic base and the pacing and the fueling strategies to do it. Beth McKenzie just finished in the top 3 at a 102 kilometer race. I mean, she's now won one and gotten another podium. So triathlon and triathletes are doing pretty well in the ultra running space. So that does entice me a little bit down the road. But there's that takes a lot of triathlon training away. So we'll see.
No, I definitely see some long distance and ultra trail running in my future too. It just looks like it's so much fun. Yeah. Well, thank you as always, guys. We definitely had lots to chat about. And next week we'll be diving into some race predictions. We have some racing going on the other side of the world. But for this week, I think we will call it there. And we will be back next week with a guest. So come join us. We're going to be geeking out a little bit more on triathlon with some insider info, I think.
And bring your humor with you too, because I would imagine there's going to be some jokes dropped.
Absolutely. Have a good one, guys. We'll chat next week.
Hey, everyone.
See you later.